Hi everyone, it's release day over at Crafty Meraki with 5 new paper pads. I'll be creating 2 fun tags with a floating vellum panel using Reverie and Rainbow Canopy pattern papers. I love making tags. It's a license to use lots of dimension because you don't have to worry about putting them in an envelope. Let's start with a quick peek at the pattern papers that I'll be working with. This first one is Rainbow Reverie. All of these papers are done up in beautiful shades of pastel. Now we'll move from those soft shades to vibrant tones in Rainbow Canopy. These papers have leafy designs. Each paper pad has 12 patterns, 24 sheets, and they are all double-sided. Awesome! I didn't have the right color of ribbons to match the pattern paper that I was going to be using, so I'm starting off by dyeing some seam binding that is made out of rayon. This accepts the color really well. I'm just adding in some pigment powder, spraying it with water, squishing it up, and I want it to have a wrinkly look, so I'm just going to let it dry as is. Each of the tags is going to be topped off with a fun take of Artisan Flora Dyes Rose, alternating the layers between colored cardstock and the rainbow patterned paper. I've started off by laying out all the layers in the order in which they're going to go together. The outside edge of the petals will be popped up with foam squares, and at the base I'll be using liquid adhesive. The main layers have registration triangular die cuts that make it very easy to align one layer to the other. Rose die set is also accompanied by a step-by-step visual guide. For a more detailed look at putting this rose die set together, which not only includes this main rose, but also a smaller one and a rose bud, I'll have links in the description to 2 videos. And I'm just finishing up with the last 2 flower petals, and as you can see, I'm using the reverse tweezers to hold everything in place until the glue is dry. There we go, a light-hearted take on Artisan Flora Rose. The same patterned paper used on the rose along with white cardstock is going to be die cut with the tag die from Love Slimline Tag. Because the patterned papers are double-sided, I'm going to adhere them back to back so that there is a white writing surface. I'll be using the main sentiment die from Birthday Slimline Tag. This is the perfect size for creating that floating vellum panel. The sentiment is die cut 4 times from white sheet foam. 2 of the die cuts are adhered together, creating a pair of double-stacked foam sentiments. Pop them under weight for just a couple of minutes until that glue sets up. The die was also used to cut patterned paper. The patterned paper die cut will be adhered to the top of one of the pairs of stacked foam die cuts. Tombow adhesive is going to be applied to the back of the sentiment that I'm working on right now. I'll then apply it to the front of the foam sentiment that has no patterned paper. This adhesive has been chosen for a couple of reasons. The vellum tag is going to be sandwiched between these 2 sentiment die cuts. If I used regular adhesive, it would cause the vellum to ripple and it wouldn't look very pretty. Tombow is the perfect solution. When set aside to dry completely, it becomes tacky, and not only is it tacky, which is perfect for working on the vellum, it is also repositionable, making it easy to line up because it can be picked up and moved around if necessary. Because the vellum is translucent, it is easy to position the tag on top of the sentiment. Now I can take my second double stack sentiment with the patterned paper and align it to the top of the vellum paper. I don't have it quite lined up, but because Tombow is repositionable for a while, it is easy to lift it up and make any adjustments. The rose is going to sit at the top of the tag, so that is a perfect opportunity to add some additional stability to the vellum. I'm going to add in foam squares for the rose to sit on. I'll add another set of foam squares right on top so that it is the same height as the double stacked foam sentiment. Now I can go back to my regular adhesive and add that to the back of the foam sentiment. The backing paper is removed from the foam squares, the vellum tag lined up to the patterned paper one, and there you go, a floating vellum panel. My yellow crinkly ribbon is going to be tied on to the tags. I'm careful not to pull it tight because there's quite a bit of height difference between the vellum and the pattern tag. There's a lot going on with all the patterned paper, so I elected to use just plain white leaves. Before the rose is attached, I'm first going to position the leaves and adhere them to the back of the rose. I'll be using a number of medium-sized glue dots to attach the rose to the top of the tag. And remember that the Tombow glue is repositionable, so I'm going to slip that bottom petal just underneath the sentiment. The secondary sentiment, Happy, also from the Birthday Slimline tag set, has been die cut 3 times and stacked. And how else do I say this? It's going to be adhered between the burr and the th. Small foam squares will be used to stabilize the leaves. When I realized that the leaves on the other side of the tag had nothing to be attached to, I made a little adjustment. I took it down a notch by 1 leaf, and then I can use the foam square to attach that 1 leaf to the top of the letter R. And after I make a couple of diagonal cuts on my ribbon, then I'm ready to do some embellishing. I'm going to be using these smooth, clear crystals. They look like dewdrops. And because I'm not sure exactly where they'll be placed in terms of being on the patterned paper or the vellum paper, I decided I would first put them all on glue dots. Because they're all on little squares of backing paper, I'm able to position them and see exactly where I want them before they're removed from the backing paper and adhered to the tags. And that completes these whimsical birthday tags with a floating vellum panel. I love these new patterned papers by Crafty Meraki. Whether you love the jewel tones found in Rainbow Canopy or the soft pastels in Rainbow Reverie, it's got you covered. And remember, there are 3 other paper pads that must be checked out. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I appreciate your visit.